Spawn On Me is the premier podcast spotlighting people of color. Every week, we talk news, what we've been playing, and tell you who's invited to the cookout. Our show is all about talking about gaming through a prism of blackness because we are the culture. Welcome to Chicago, y'all.
Yo, what up, everybody in Chicago? This is the Spawn On Me podcast with Kahlief Adams. I'm your host, Kahlief Adams. This is episode 548 of the best podcast on the planet, bringing you dopeness from here and there and everywhere. I am excited to see you all in all of the places that you reside. We are here live on twitch.tv/SpawnOnMe and youtube.com/SpawnOnMe and at Kahlief Adams on X and all the places where our show goes, all podcast platforms, Spotify for videos, YouTube, all the goodness in all the spaces. Go check out our TikTok as well. It has been a very, very busy couple of weeks. I have not put out a show because it has just been madness getting things out into the world. We have a lot of things that I've been working on, some projects, some stuff that you might have seen during Summer Game Fest. If you had seen the Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver trailer, you might have seen some work that some stuff that I've been working on. So a lot of goodies all over the place in all of those dope spaces. So always happy, always rocking, always excited to be able to be doing the show. And we're going to talk a lot about Summer Games Fest this week because Summer Games Fest just happened a little while ago. It is something that we have been really excited for a long time. And, you know, getting a chance to go for now, I think we've been every year at this point at Summer Games Fest. I think we've never missed a year of the main show. And it's always been super fun. It's always been great because, you know, getting a chance to see the best, biggest and best and greatest of the games that are coming out is always super cool. And it's just amazingly fun to be able to go check out stuff all the time and go hang out and do all that stuff. And there's no one better to talk about all of that goodness than the one and only Cam Hawkins. What's up, fam? How you doing, sir? How's everything going?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. It was fun rocking SGF with you just a week ago.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to see each other very much, despite us doing coverage for the pod.
We did not.
But it was really busy this year. So, but yeah, we got a lot of fun things to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the weirdest Summer Games Fest for us as a crew doing stuff because it was just like our schedules conflicted a ton, but we were all kind of like going to go check out a bunch of stuff. But I think we got some really good coverage of the show. I think we got some really fun behind the scenes stuff to go check out. And I think we had a lot of really good, impressions of things that we were excited for and some surprises that I know is in the mix too. So I'm very excited to talk to you, not only about just like the overall feeling from the show, but some of the goodies that you got a chance to see that were very specifically cool. Word, how was your show? How do you feel like this year's Summer Games Fest went? How was it?
It was kind of like what I said before. It was a little weird because of scheduling things, and PAX East was weird as well. I went to PAX East like in the beginning of May, and that was also super weird. And I don't know if that was because it was in May instead of like late March, early April, or what, but that was a weird show as well. This less so, but still, like, you know, just comparative to last year where we were definitely able to find times to film, chop it up, talk about like, hey, what'd you think of the showcase? Hey, what'd you think about the Xbox showcase? What have you played so far? We never really had that opportunity this year, and so we're kind of like catching up on all that now. Like, you got to do some things, of course, obviously with like Xbox. You got to check out the Ally, and that's really dope. And I am very jealous. But yeah, there also being no like Xbox showcase, like a public viewing like that was official from Microsoft. Like that felt like a little bit of a hole there. But overall, still, like, it was great seeing everybody. I'm really happy that Jeff and the Summer Game Fest team has been more open to allowing smaller outlets to attend the show. Because there are definitely some outlets that I know that were able to go to the Monday day last year specifically. But this year they were able to go all 3 days. And so I think that, while the showcase itself for me wasn't super crazy, I think that there were things that I saw at play days that made it feel like, okay, Jeff is listening to us. Like there is feedback that is being put into practice. So that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things that always comes out from a show like this, and I'm happy you talked about the, smaller streamers and smaller outlets getting some more love in the space. I think that's always really, really good to see, because I think it's one of those things where, we have a lot of folks who are in our own circles who are really good at what they do and really have a fantastic, understanding of the space. But a lot of times they just don't get a chance to rock, and they don't get a chance to go to shows like this, which, the show has gotten bigger every year. And it feels like every year that they do something cool, they just continue to add new layers to the show. I think the overall show was pretty dope in terms of, where and what got heard in those spaces. But I think, this was a year where we got some good surprises. We got some really good confirmations on some things. And we really got a ton of really good vibes from a lot of the people in the space. Like, I feel like last year was a kind of a down year, and this year felt like it kind of came back in some ways. Besides the coverage of stuff, how was it kind of coming back and seeing, the folks that we kind of all know and love, industry folks during that week?
It's good because it's, you always get to see people that you normally don't see, because not everyone goes to PAX East or PAX West. And so there are like a good chunk of people that I've seen from there, but then I get to see some people that I don't normally see, and then I get introduced to new people, and you make new connections, because the space is very large and very small at the same time. Like it can feel intimidating when you're just like existing inside of it, but if you if you start talking to people very quickly, you're going to be introduced to more and more and more and more people that it's just like, oh, you kind of know everybody. That was like something that I kind of took notice of this year. Like I know, I've been in this space since 2019, and you were one of the first people to tuck me under your wing, and I'm always appreciative of that. And I'm at the point now where I know so many people that it's really hard to not just stop and chat, especially in an environment like that where it's just oh, hey, I gotta go to this appointment. I would love to chat, but I can't. And that might be the one time you get to see them the entire trip.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely times where it's just oh, I saw this one person, but I realized, oh, that was the one time I saw them. I didn't get to see them again. I didn't get to say hi or anything.
Yeah.
And actually properly catch up. And so it's just it's one of those things where that's the reason why I try to show up the day before the actual showcase. So this is 2 days before the play days, because that gives me the opportunity to talk to people before things get crazy. Because when things start getting crazy, assuming that your schedule is pretty jam-packed for those 3 days, you don't have time outside of the nighttime.
Yeah.
And normally you're going to see the same people that are hanging at night, and then the people that don't hang at night, they're either at some specific private thing, or they're just not out, and that's and that's totally fine. But it's just you kind of have to realize in what environments you're going to have the opportunity to talk to certain people. And so like there are people at the mix that I talked to that I was just like, oh, I'm definitely not going to be able to talk to you unless I happen to see you decide to show up to the JW one of these nights later.
Right.
And some of those people didn't.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, oh, well, I'm glad I talked to you now because I wouldn't have the opportunity to do so if I didn't. So you just kind of have to like, it feels weird because like, you don't want to like make other people feel more important than another.
Sure.
But it's more just so like, hey, like, I know I'm going to talk to you multiple times throughout this trip.
Yeah.
Because I know you're going to play days. I know you're going to be at this and that I'm going to be at. This person, I don't know when I'm going to see them again. And if I don't see them again, I won't see them till probably the Game Awards or next year, same time. So it's like,
jeez,
those few instances where you get to talk to someone in person.
Yeah.
That I just gotta, I gotta take those opportunities where I can.
Yeah, it kind of comes back to, why I love being in this industry. Of course, getting a chance to see you and, folks like Evan, who was with us to help us on, the production side. Like there were so many people because I had back-to-back meetings for 4 days straight. And there were no gaps pretty much throughout all of it. And I still missed stuff. Like I didn't get a chance to go to the mix. There was a Death Stranding event that I got an invite to and didn't get a chance to go. And then, seeing, like you said, seeing so many people who you want to catch up with and spend some time with. And I was like, oh, I have to eat. Like I'm going to die if I don't go grab something to eat.
Like that's a very funny story. I was, I don't know if you've come across them on TikTok, but the Co-op 64 crew, they're basically like one of the main TikTok gaming creators. They also have a YouTube channel, but like TikTok is, I feel like, where they got a lot of their exposure. And they came out here, and it's it's actually their second one, but he was one of them, Nick, he was just like, do you also experience this where like you don't realize that you're hungry because of how busy you are?
Yep.
It's like, yes, that's totally a thing. Like, so I totally get it.
That's the E3. I mean, that's the weird thing because I've been trained by E3 to do that. It's so bad. It is such a bad thing. But I'm learning to try to do better when I go to events because it's just like, if you don't eat, you're going to freaking die. And we're going hard for like a couple of days straight. So it winds up being something very, very difficult. But like, even people who I was excited to see, in passing, like I saw Chris Plant in passing and I haven't seen him in forever. I saw Danny O'Dwyer, but I didn't get a chance to say hello to him. And I wanted to be like, Danny O'Dwyer, I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in forever.
We were in an elevator together when we went to the mix, and we gave introductions. I was like, oh yeah, I'm with COD, and he's like, oh, Kahlief, okay, cool.
Yeah. I love Danny. Danny's good people, but that was like the show for so many different things. It was a very good show. It was just like, I'm happy you said that because I think that's the thing that people don't really pay attention to is like, you build a lot of really good relationships over the years of doing this stuff. Like we've become really cool friends. It's been great to be able to see folks who you've, learned from or have helped or have done content with, all that kind of stuff. So it's always super, super fun for all of that stuff. I do want to say that I think Summer Games Fest felt smaller this year in some ways. It felt like we touched on a little bit, but like the big publishers weren't there. Like PlayStation the year before had a big tent where they were showing stuff, and they weren't there this year. Xbox had stuff that was off site, which they kind of do every Summer Games Fest at this point. I would have expected Nintendo to maybe do something because the Switch came out, but they weren't there really at all. But I think the games that we did get a chance to see were really, really good this year. Like 2025 in general is a banger in terms of games across the board, but stuff that was at Summer Games Fest was very, very cool. So I think for this episode, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of coverage on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/spawnonme. I have some hands-on with the ROG Ally, which is a video that's doing extremely well. ROG Ally X. Had an interview with the folks from the Dying Light game. Talked about their new stuff that's coming out. We talked to the folks from IO Interactive as well, because they were celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. There's a small Xbox wrap up over there. So go check out a lot of the content that's on the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We already had 200 this week, which is fantastic. So it's nuts. So I want to talk to you about what were your surprises of the show? Because I think we had the big Jeff Keighley Palooza that had all the videos and stuff in it. But on the floor, we got a bunch of appointments for a bunch of different things. But what were some of the kind of bigger surprises for you? Stuff that you wasn't really either super excited for and then became excited, or things that you wanted some more information for and then you got to play it. What were some of your biggest surprises for Summer Game Shows this year?
Yeah, so the first one that comes to mind immediately is Shinobi: The Art of Vengeance. This is a game that Sega is I don't know if they're developing, but they're at least publishing, and it is a Sega IP. It's a long-running IP, and this is like their first entry in a long time. And initially, I didn't actually have an appointment for this game. I only had an appointment for Demon Slayer, their Demon Slayer game that's coming out. But when I was at IGN Live, I saw a booth that had Shinobi, and I'm like, oh crap, like I didn't get an appointment for this. I'm gonna play this while I can. And this is now one of my most anticipated games this year. Like, this is a game that I'm going to try. Like, I will like try and beat this in a single sitting. Like, the action gameplay feels so fluid and so good. And you have these ninja stances that allow you to use different elemental like abilities. In the demo, you only get to use fire, so like you use the bumper to do a like direct like right next to like flame breath attack, but then with LT, if you have enough bar or whatever, you it basically looks like you're going Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball, but it and then it burns like everyone on the screen that's on screen at the time. But the coolest part of it is the Shinobi executions, where once there's a white bar under the health bar, and once that bar fills, you get a kanji or some sort of symbol on top of the enemy, and then you go into your ninja stance, and then you press I think it's left bumper and right bumper together, and you auto kill them no matter what their health is at. And it's crazy. It's so satisfying. So that once you like get into a flow state and you're just like moving, rapidly across the screen, just hitting all these enemies, it just feels so good to play. And again, I feel like very few people know that this game even exists, and it's absolutely incredible. Like I have not stopped thinking about this game since I started playing it. And I really, really cannot wait for the rest, for the full game to come out. Yeah, it's really, really great. And it has a good amount of challenge too. So it's like, it finds that right balance of like, hey, it makes you feel powerful, but it also makes you want to master your abilities in a way that isn't just like, oh, you're just waiting to get this enemy to be able to execute them with your ninja stance ability. It's really, really great. I had a really great time with it. I'm pretty sure it has a release date. I'm trying to see if I can find it right now. August 28th.
Ooh, that's perfect.
August 28th.
Yeah.
So it's not too far away. I would say a perfect game if you recently picked up a Switch 2 to hop on that. And it's only a $30 game. So,
oh, that's right. It's not even going to be that expensive. That's dope. That's great. I'm excited for that. That's the thing that I wasn't really checking for it, but every time I talked to someone and was like, "Yo, what did you see this week that was great?" Everyone to a man was like, "Yo, Shinobi was really, really good. Like, you should have played that. You missed out on that thing." That's cool, because I'm happy that not only are they bringing that franchise back in a way that everybody's been excited for, but like, that's the thing that I think, anybody who grew up on that franchise is excited for that. I want to bounce off that actually, because I think there's a question that's in there for you. Yeah.
And just one quick thing. So it's being developed by Lizard Cube, who is the developer behind Streets of Rage 4. So if you like Streets of Rage 4, you're gonna dig this.
It kind of feels like it has a little bit of that animation style too, at least the animation vibe of the way the frames work. It looks like that. I'm happy you said that, because that's I was wondering who was making that thing. I got a chance to play a ninja game too that actually surprised. It didn't surprise me, but it was something that I knew I was going to be excited for, or it was a surprise in the fact that I didn't know I was going to get a chance to play it. So Xbox did a really interesting thing where they had behind closed door stuff, and they didn't tell you what the games were until you got there. And Ninja Gaiden 4 was one of the games that I got a chance to play, and that thing,
I'm so jealous,
is freaking nuts. That jump, so Platinum and oh my
Team
god,
Ninja, they're cooking.
and Team Ninja are making the best baby on the planet. This thing is so good. It is so fast. It is everything that you want in a Ninja Gaiden game, and it just feels exactly like the mashup of those two groups is really kind of bringing it together in a really dope way. And it felt like we had a conversation, we had a discussion with some of the developers on the team, and it was interesting. So like, one of the questions we asked was, who's kind of taking the lead on this game? And if I remember correctly, I think Platinum was the ones who were taking the lead on it, and Team Ninja were kind of coming in and advising them, to kind of keeping them
supervising,
like supervising to make sure they're like nailing all the things. And man, this game is gonna be a problem when people jump on this thing. You talk about a game where you're mixing up crazy wild moves with, just like nuts, uber violence and stuff. This thing is going to be so crazy. It's going to be so good. It was one of my favorite things that I got a chance to play during the show, and was a huge surprise because I was not expecting that to be there. I thought that was going to be something that they would do, and they probably will do another offsite kind of event at some point. But if you are a big fan of Ninja Gaiden and a big fan of Platinum games and Team Ninja stuff combined, like, you have a banger on the way for all of you at home. So that was one of my big surprises of Summer Game Fest. What else do you have in your back pocket?
Oh, I did want to talk about Ninja Gaiden 4 for a second. Like, I'm really excited about it. I want to play Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, the remake, when before this comes out. But I talked about this on my my podcast, Party Chat, a JRPG podcast, where I'm really excited for Ninja Gaiden 4, but I'm also like really worried about Platinum Games as a studio, just because they've had so many like falling, like, for lack of a better term, failures, just for simplicity's sake, failures, and a lot of their main talent has left. Kamiya has left, the creator and director of Astral Chain, which was a really great Switch exclusive that they made, he's left. I'm just worried that Platinum Games is going to start becoming the studio where people hire them to make whatever next game is, and not be able to just make their own ideas and then find a publisher to release, to publish that game for them. Because the team is so talented and they make such good action games. That's just something that's kind of still been in my mind throughout all of this. But Ninja Gaiden 4 looks super dope. It comes out October 21st, day one on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a big part of the Xbox showcase, was them talking about play anywhere, Game Pass, all of that stuff, and knowing that that's going to be in Game Pass as well is going to be a pretty big deal for a lot of stuff.
Now, one of the things I actually wanted to ask you, if you got an answer on this.
Yep.
Do we know if like this was a product of Phil Spencer being like, hey, we want you to make Ninja Gaiden 4, here's money, and like, you know, they talked to Platinum and Team Ninja to make it happen? Like, did they like fund this game in a way that, you know, first parties normally don't do for multi-platform games?
I don't know, but I mean, the big conversation out of, I mean, the past 7 to 8 years has been Xbox needs to cozy up more to Japanese developers, and they don't have a lot of them in the mix.
Absolutely.
And I think now having a game with two of the biggest and best, developers on the planet in Team Ninja and Platinum, combining efforts to make a game that is going to be really well received and really excited. I mean, maybe I'm sure they probably threw some extra dough in the bucket to be like, yo, make sure we get this, but it's not going to be exclusive, at least from what I know. So,
no.
So like, you know, I think maybe they greased the wheels to be able to say, we really want to make this happen. If we can get something on our end to help this happen, then sure. But I don't think there was probably any special deals. But again, like, who knows? All of us are armchair quarterbacking a lot of that stuff because we just will never know. It would be cool though, because I feel like it is that conversation that we've now seen often and over again about like, they need more Eastern games on their consoles. They need more Eastern titles on their stuff. So, you know, if this is the one that they get right now for the next, you know, part of this year, or, you know, the big get for this year, that's a huge get for them to be able to kind of tout that they are the ones who kind of ushered this in. So I'm excited for it. And the team seemed really excited about it too. Like when we got a chance to talk to the dev team, they talked a lot about, you know, what it was like to do this collaboration and learning a lot from each other and kind of being in a space together where they were, you know, excited about the prospect of making that happen. Ryan McCaffrey over at IGN has a really good interview because we were in the same session. So like go check out his take on it because it was a really good take as well. So for real. What's your next game, Cam? I know you had a couple other ones that were kind of big surprises for Summer Games Fest.
Yeah. So one game I really, really loved my time with was Ratatan. Ratatan is the pseudo sequel spiritual successor of Patapon. I have not played Patapon. I'm very familiar with it, but I never got my hands on it. And I'm super excited for the 1 and 2 Switch release because I never played the remasters when they came to PlayStation, and I love rhythm music games. Mm-hmm. So this is totally, you know, on paper, totally my jam. And so I played Ratatan, and this is basically Patapon meets Hades. This is a roguelike RPG where you're still doing the Patapon thing. You're playing your little tunes by pressing different buttons, and you have your little guys do specific things, whether it's like, oh, attack, guard, jump, use one of your special abilities, that type of thing. And then when you beat a room, you end up getting 2 buttons to press, and one of them, and they have like the different icons similar to Hades, where it's like, hey, if you press this button, the next room will reward you with like a fire ability, or if you press this one, it'll reward you with money or the store, or, you know, very similar things to Hades. The thing about this that was fun and also frustrating was because I only had 30 minutes to play, was that I have never played Patapon before. So like normally when you play a new game, right, it takes you like 5 minutes to kind of get your bearings because you've probably have played something of that similar design. This was completely new to me. So this took me like half my session. I was still just trying to figure out how the game worked. But despite that, I was still having a buttload of fun, and I was like super focused and did not want to be distracted. It was one of the few demos that I played during SGF where I was just like, I hate that I have to stop playing. I wish I could just keep playing.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. If you like Hades, this Hades 2 exists, of course, but this might be something you want to look at if you like Patapon. It's Patapon again. There's more things that are different, but the kind of foundation is there. And the team was kind enough to give me this poster that is signed by some of the lead devs.
What?
And so
that's a flex and a half, Cam. I love that. That's a good flex. I like that.
This was definitely the coolest thing I got when I was at SGF. I also got a pin of the logo, but I did not bring that down. But yeah, that is about to hit early access soon. So if you want to support that on Steam, I highly recommend it. It's a really good time. I see myself hopping in straight away.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Patapon and that whole lineage is just like GOAT status for folks who definitely had the chance to play that thing. So I'm excited that you got a chance to check that out. That's dope. That makes me even more excited that game is coming out fairly soon. Like, this is also a weird year, as well as like either things are coming out tomorrow or next year. It feels like everything is coming in. And my God, October is unreasonable this time. Like,
September and October
are going to be stupid. Like, I tweeted out the other day, I was like, I put a picture that was like, this is your family. You're not going to see them in September and October, so you might as well say hello to them now, because you are not going to see them for a long time after that. Yeah, September and October is going to be nuts, but that's a great game to as a poll for something you were really, really surprised by. That was the thing that I heard it was on the floor, but I just didn't get a chance to see it. So I'm hoping we get a chance to review that at some point down the line, because that would be really, really dope. A game that I was actually not as excited for, because I like remakes, I like new refreshes of IPs and games like that. And this wasn't a game that I really embraced when I first had the chance to potentially play it when I was a little bit younger, but came away really excited for Onimusha, Way of the Sword. Onimusha, so Capcom had their behind closed door stuff last week. They showed Onimusha, they showed Pragmata, and they showed Resident Evil 9. And of the three, the game that, me as a huge Resident Evil fan was super excited once I started to hear that people were like, oh, did you get the Capcom appointment? Oh, I got the Capcom appointment. Oh, they're going to show Resident Evil 9. That's dope. But the game that came out of that was the most exciting to me and the most I had the most hype for was Onimusha. So we had this really great demo where they played the game for like 10 minutes or so and went over some of the new mechanics in the game, where the main thing is you are kind of sucking up souls into this bracer that you have on your arm. And you get these different arts that you get that work across that. One of the most interesting parts about it was, they had this character who is definitely Japanese, but had the most British accent of all accents.
I was not crazy about the English voiceover for this guy.
No.
I was like, this does not translate at all.
No, I was like, oh man, why is he sound British? He shouldn't sound British. Why is he making British? But I think because we both had disappointment, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts. But
yeah,
the thing that I really liked from this was the pacing of the combat. That to me was the thing that I was really excited for, because I feel like we're in this in between space now where either things are hyper speed, like in Ninja Gaiden or something like that, or they're in a really kind of almost Elden Ring-esque battle parry kind of thing, and action doesn't feel like it has a space to just kind of live anymore. But the pacing on this game was super good. Like, I loved the fact that you could kind of just take your time in these what looks like these fights. What were your thoughts about Onimusha and the time you got a chance to check it out?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit more reserved on it as of right now. I have no like history with Onimusha. I've wanted to play like the remaster of the first game, Warlords, for a long time, and now the second one recently came out. So like now I really want to do it before Way of the Sword comes out. And I think we're in a place currently in the games industry where there's too many samurai-esque games for me. We got Sekiro, we got the Ghost series, we got what's the other one I'm thinking of?
Yotai? No,
not it's a different franchise.
Yeah.
There's another franchise I can't think of right now. Oh yeah. Like Assassin's Creed, right? Assassin's Creed just came out. So we've gotten a lot of these games, and I think part of it is like, and I'm not trying to make it too much of the reason. Part of it is because I feel like that we were just so spoiled by Sekiro as an action game, and like how the combat in that game felt and how the parrying felt in that game, and like the countering. It's just all, it felt so like flawless that like with Onimusha, I liked what I saw. I'm excited to play it, but it didn't really do anything outside of the whole, like its whole shtick, right? It's like, oh, you got the gauntlet that sucks up the orbs, that really differentiates itself from other franchises. Because like for me, I think Sekiro is one of the best action games ever made. I love Assassin's Creed. I will always play a new Assassin's Creed game when it comes out, even though I haven't played the new one yet because I just haven't had the time. And Ghost of Tsushima, the Ghost series, like I don't think the combat translates super well, but at least like when they show off that game and knowing the gameplay of Ghosts comparatively, it does its own thing. And does that thing translate super well across the board? I don't think so, but at least it's able to like give itself its own identity in the swordplay and in the gameplay. And I think the world is really beautiful in at least in Ghost of Tsushima, which makes me excited for Ghost of Yote. So like where I'm at right now is like, yeah, this looks good, but I didn't get what I needed to see. I didn't get what I needed to see to be like, okay, this is why I should care that there's another new game that is very similar or reminds me a lot of these other already existing franchises. And granted, this is a reboot, right? Like this series already existed, but it's very much like they're making a jump and they have to make a return. It feels like one of those things where a reboot happens and the developer decides to play it safe and not take a big risk to be like, hey, this is back and it's different from before. It's not the same. And there are things that like obviously make it feel more modern, make it feel like it's more like, you know, a jump from a PS2 action game, of course.
Sure.
But it's still like, hey, it doesn't, it's kind of like the opposite of how I feel about Resident Evil the past few entries. Like we got to see Resident Evil behind closed doors. And even though I'm not super crazy about one, the franchise, and two, the direction that they took with it starting with 7, but they just did that shit. They were just like, this is Resident Evil now. It's in first person. It's there's major differences from previous entries. That's kind of what I was hoping I would see with Onimusha. Like, hey, this is a big jump that we're doing, and we're gonna take some sort of risk. And as of right now, I don't see that. And I know that this is very like my own opinion, but from my own experiences. But that's just kind of how I am with Onimusha. Like, am I going to play it day one? Absolutely. Am I particularly excited? Not really.
Yeah. It's funny because that's the way I came out of Resident Evil 9, which made me really, really sad. Not because I don't want that game. Like, again, I want that game all day, every day. Like, you give me a Resident Evil game, I am down for it. But like, the presentation that we got was very, very safe, and it didn't showcase a lot of stuff. It was really like, this is how you navigate. Here's this one big bad that's in the space that's kind of chasing you. But it didn't show a lot, and it didn't get me excited for the new protagonist. It didn't give me anything that was like, besides, oh, well, you can play in third person now. I was like, okay, that's great. But like, show me more monsters. Show me some more of the bad guys. Like, show me the, who's going to be the Wesker of this particular game. And they didn't show that. And I was like, man, I left out of that fairly disappointed. Hoping that they were going to give me more meat on the bone, especially as a horror fan. It was funny. The funniest thing was, companies like to do this thing where they have reaction videos after a showing of a thing, especially in horror. They do like the night vision goggles version of like seeing people, be scared in the dark. And I was looking at that joint, and people were being scared in the dark at the Resident Evil demo, and I was like, "Yo, what are y'all scared for? There was nothing scary in this joint."
Oh, see, I am a scaredy cat, so I was just like going into that. I was just like, I really hope I don't get scared playing this, watching this presentation, because I am not a horror guy at all. So I'm immediately on edge.
I was like sitting there, I was like, what? They ain't that scary in here. I was like, this woman just walked around in a room with a big old thing that just chased her like the same game from the last thing. Anywho. I mean, overall, I think Capcom had a really good showing. What were your thoughts about Pragmata?
I love Pragmata. That was like just that's in my top 5. It was like probably on my number 5 slot. Because I feel like I have a weird relationship with Capcom. Like, I love Monster Hunter, and Monster Hunter Wilds it came and went, and it's honestly surprising. I'm not trying to dive deep into that, but outside of that, like, most Capcom IP like doesn't keep me around in a real way. I'm hoping Onimusha changes that. But like, even with Resident Evil, I just don't really. I've played so many of them, but I've never finished any of them because they just can't keep me interested. I know a lot about the story, I know a lot about the plot, and like, I keep my eye on it, but it's just never really like. And I've always wanted to like, oh, what if I just do a Resident Evil series playthrough? But it's just like, But Pragmata, with it being a new IP, it's sci-fi. I love sci-fi settings. This has me really excited. We actually got to go hands-on with this one. We got to play like a demo was probably about like 20 minutes. But it showed us a lot. It was a really great example of like, this is how you should show off a game with a small time allotment. And granted, we probably played like the beginning of the game. Like that, like it felt like that this was like where we started was the first gameplay aspects of the game. And so, we don't really know a whole lot about the story. We get a little bit of a tease about like, there's some like sort of level of corporate failures and like corporate abuse with like everything that's going on. But the gameplay is really cool. I really love how they have this they do this balance of like real-time puzzle solving with like hacking with Diana, and then to basically allow you to shoot the robots. And it does it does a great job of being like, hey, so this is your pistol, you have infinite ammo with it, and then you can find these different weapons that fill specific slots because they're like color coordinated, and they are limited ammo, but they're not like I think like through that demo, just based off of that demo, it was like a nice balance where you didn't feel like, oh, I gotta preserve this, like if I'm fighting a very unique monster or I'm on death's door. Like it didn't make you feel like that when I was playing Pragmata. I was like, okay, yeah, I can use this a bit, and then like maybe a few rooms after I'll find more, and then I feel good about that. But yeah, and there's some just from the first 15 minutes, there was like some nice tunnels, like some hide spots, some rewards that you could pick up, and it was really fun. I'm really excited to play it, and we'll see how the story turns out. That's really where I'm at this point. It's like, okay, what's the story?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I went into this with very low expectations because I was like, what is this Megan ripoff?
Yeah,
Megan robot ripoff, because she looks just
weirdly
like Megan.
human.
Yeah. She looks just like Megan, but the Megan horror movie, if you're catching on that. But it was a really good surprise because I was like, and they kind of hide it in the trailer that they initially showed for it, where you thought it was kind of more of a kind of straight up and down action game, but it's more of a puzzler than it is anything else, which is kind of dope. Like when you start to get new power-ups and stuff where, on your board, you're basically using I think it was the face buttons on the controller to be your directional buttons.
Yes.
So I think it was like, circle, if you're using the PlayStation controller, circle would be right, triangle would be up. So you're doing that to get to an endpoint in the puzzle matrix. And they had these really cool things where you start to get some power-ups where you can like start to, if you go over one of the squares for a power that you have, it adds a buff or a debuff to the space, which was super, super cool. That was really fun. I was like, oh, this is way more intricate and interesting than I had expected. I feel like the kind of main dude that is the person who gets to shoot stuff.
Hugh, I think is his name.
What?
I think his name is Hughes or Hugh.
Yeah, Hugh or something like that. He feels super generic. I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case when you get a chance to see him in the full game. But it was a big surprise of like, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun once this drops. Because when you start to get those moments when things start to rush you and you still have to like finish these puzzles really, really quickly to be able to do damage, that's a cool mechanic that I didn't expect. So I'm Pragmata went up a bunch on my list of like really excited to play, which was super cool. It is wild to say, out of all the things that came out of the Capcom news for Summer Games Fest, that Resident Evil 9 was the lowest in terms of my reception for it, which is nuts to say. What else is the next game you got on your list?
Next game on my list for surprises, I would say is Dosa Divas, One Last Meal. This is from Outer Loop. They're known for doing Falcon Age and Thirsty Suitors. And this is a turn-based JRPG, very much inspired. So there were turn-based elements in Thirsty Suitors, but this is more of a traditional sense. And basically the concept of the game is you are these two sisters who ran a restaurant with another sister, but the other sister basically ends up turning into this evil corporate lady who is trying to like feed everyone in this world like food paste. And so and everyone that is continuously being fed this food kind of forgets how to cook, how to eat anything outside of the food paste. And so you are basically going town to town and you're trying to like help these people out by making them food. And there are these really fun and random cooking games that like depending on how well you do on them, you depends on how many of like quantity of what you make is. And there's a bunch of ingredients you'll pick up around the world. There's a vendor that will turn like something that you can regularly pick up into a very like a specific thing. So you can turn if you give him enough coconuts, you can get coconut milk, for example. So that's how you get certain specific ingredients as well. And the combat is very like Paper Mario, Super Mario RPG, if you're familiar with those games, where there's these timed attacks where if you press the A button at the right time, you do more damage. If you defend at the right time, you'll take less damage. And one of the details that I also really like that is super charming to me, it's like a very small thing, but it goes a long way for me, is that in the game, the enemies, when you're playing against someone, the enemies don't have elemental weaknesses. They have taste weaknesses. Where like,
that's so good.
Yeah, and they implement the boost system from Octopath Traveler, which probably has one of, if not the best, turn-based mechanics in all of games. And so basically, it's presented very similarly to Octopath 2. Well, like each enemy will have like these. If you fight a new enemy and you've never fought them before, there'll be like these empty boxes under them, and it basically says like, "Oh, here are there are this many weaknesses that this enemy has. You need to figure out what it is." So like each of the party members, because it's the two sisters, and then they have like a robot friend. If I remember correctly, their base attack also has a specific attack type, but it's different. It's like different like flavors. It's like spicy, sweet, sour, like that. Those are like the weaknesses instead of like fire, ice, thunder.
Interesting.
Like, it's such a small thing that I appreciate so much, because it just adds to the whole idea of like the cooking theme and the cooking culture of it all. It's really great. It looks really great. It plays really great. It's not supposed to come out until sometime next year, but boy howdy, I am excited for it.
That's dope. I was playing a game called Relooters. That was,
yeah, I've heard good things about that.
It was close to Dosa in terms of proximity, and like Outer Loop just makes beautiful, like stunningly gorgeous games. Like they have such a unique style in terms of the art that they put into their games, and I couldn't stop looking at it. Like every time I would turn my head and see something, I was just like stuck for like 30 seconds to be like, what is this? What is happening on the screen? It is so beautiful. Like they do such a great job of building on some of those things. And I'd love to hear how you talked about, how they deal with kind of buff debuff elemental stuff in the game like that for again, another cooking-esque game for them, or a game that has cooking elements in it. I just really love Outer Loop and all the stuff that they make, because they just make really dope things. So I'm happy you had a chance to check that out. I'm hoping that we get a chance to play that again, because I'd love to play that, because it looks really, really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Let's move on. Go ahead.
I did want to talk about one thing. I didn't play it, but I think you're really going to dig what the pitch is here. Like it is a thing where like the game on paper, not for me.
Yeah.
And hearing someone talk about this game, I was like, I'm mad I did not take the time to play this game.
What is this?
Or I didn't know that this game existed. So this is a game called Grave Seasons. And this was one of the Bloomhouse games.
Oh, okay.
And so basically the concept, Kyle, you're gonna love this.
Ooh.
It's a farming sim,
Okay.
right? With a twist. So it's a farming sim, like your normal farming sim, but someone on your farm is secretly a serial killer. And you have a year to figure out who it is. And you, like, there's, apparently there's like dialogue choices, and like depending on who you, like, the things that you do will depend on like how the serial killer will act and stuff. And like there was this whole instance where my friend said that he went out at night and there was a literal werewolf, like just wrecking havoc. And it's just like it on paper, it sounds so interesting to me, where like as someone who does not like management sims, does not like horror, I need to play this game. I need to play this game.
That's
so
dope.
Grave Seasons.
Okay.
Check it out. It sounds really, really ambitious. Really, really cool.
You have me intrigued. I have not heard. I was running through stuff that they had, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. It sounds cool. Usually when you say farming sim, that's automatically nope for me. But the fact that you have a good inclination, you know games I like. So, okay, I will check that out. I will bug the folks from Bloomhouse about getting us some codes for that, because I think that's the stuff that winds up happening a lot at Summer Games Fest as well. Is like you would be going in for some other random game, and then just out of eye shot you see a thing and you're like, yo, what the hell is that? Like a game that I've been really excited for and been hyping up for a while is called Uma, and that was on the floor as well.
Yes. Oh, it was?
Yeah. And that
I remember
is my game.
I remember you showing me that, and I thought it was so cool. I put it on the wish list. If I knew that it was on the floor, I would have absolutely tried to.
I didn't know until I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, it's here!" Oh, I was talking to Shuhei. I was talking to Shuhei Yoshida, who's hanging out by a booth that was close to it, and I asked Shu if he played it. He was like, "It is so hard." He was like, "This game is so hard. It is really hard."
Yeah.
It is very hard.
There is one more game I need to talk about really quickly.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. And that's Possessors. This is a new game being developed by Heart Machine. They're the team that does Hyper Light Drifter, Hyper Light Breaker, Solar Ash. And this is basically like a Metroidvania. It feels like, I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but it gives that vibe. There's definitely some like satanic vibes to it, I guess, if that makes sense. And
Devil.
The game starts where this girl is she basically like loses her legs in a building falls or collapses or something, and then she basically makes a pact with this demon or devil, and they basically have this kind of not contractual agreement, but they both need each other, right? Like he's able to like make it so that she can walk around and stuff, and he needs her because he can't really exist outside of something like that. And so the combat is fun. I think the thing that's like most charming about it is that like a lot of these special weapons, like you just saw her pick up a computer mouse, like that's they're using like very random items as like, oh, let's use something really random and unusual to use as one of the key weapons in this game, because that's really all that it can like exists in this world anymore. So like later in the game you find like a baseball, and so you just like throw baseballs at people. So it's really fun. It has a really nice art style. I'm curious to learn more about the story. And it's Heart Machine, and they make really great games. And they definitely have like I feel like each of their games come with like a very distinct vision on what they're trying to do. And the platforming is good. It's fun. Like you have this whip, you swing around. There's some nice platforming challenges. I had a really good time with this. This was another demo that, like, even though I wouldn't say it was like in my top 5, it was also a game that I didn't want to stop playing when I finished. I was like, oh man, I wanted to get to like the boss and like and finish and beat the boss. But I also had a really good time just exploring and like seeing what, you know, where things were, what enemies I would run into. Really good time.
I mean, Heart Machine, as you say anything but Heart Machine, then I'm always like, all right, whatever they got, I'm down for. I feel like Hyperlight, what was the last game that they just did?
Hyperlight Breaker. Yeah.
I feel like that also has not gotten the love that it deserves. Is it out or is it still like early access?
I don't know.
I forget.
I think it's still in early access.
Yeah.
But I also, just from people that I've heard on the media side of things, that game didn't really meet expectations,
right,
in a way.
Right.
So, you know, but I have not played it myself, so I can't really speak on it.
Yeah, I had fun with it.
But it's currently in early access. In early access.
Got it. Okay, that makes a ton of sense because I've played it a couple times and enjoyed it and think it has a really good loop and all the things they're doing with it. But if Possessors is in that space and doing, and hopefully has you excited, then I think a lot of folks in the Spawn and Me audience would be excited by that too.
Yeah, it feels like a smaller project, but still good, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Let's get to our favorites of the show. I think we have a favorite in common. It was our kind of best of show. So I'm going to hold that one for the end. But do you have any other ones that are in the top, like 2, top 3 for you?
For me, my top 2, top 3.
Yeah.
I've said my top 4 or 5 already outside of my number 1.
Oh,
so I don't know if we're on this, if that's the one that we're talking about here.
All right, so let me hit 2 then. Let me hit 2 really quick. Because I do want to spend time on the last one for the last part of the show. I'll run through these super fast because they don't need a ton of introduction and introspection. But Lego Party was very good.
It had no right being as good as it was.
Right?
It had no right being as good as it was.
As a person who is not a big Lego fan, I am hooked. I immediately want this game. I'm going to play this game. I'm trying to find people to jump in and play this thing when it comes out. This joint is going to be dope. I swear, like, I was so surprised and so happy out of this thing. So, because it's one of those things of like, you know, if you have that competitive spirit, you know, games like this feel like you're kind of playing through, you know, the minutia of, oh, well, what cute thing are they going to put me in, and what kind of like land are they going to make me play in, and that kind of stuff. It felt like a very old school board game, but in digital form with Lego on top of it. So like you have all these amazingly dope mini games, and they said in the trailer you have 60 of them. So we played something that was like, what was it like? It was like not Beat Saber. Guitar Hero. It was like Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah, there was one that was like Guitar Hero where you had to move on like whatever notes, you know, whatever the tiles were going on.
Yeah.
I want to mention my favorite because I still thought about it since I played it. I don't know if you played it, but it is this mini game where all you do is you basically Spider-Man swing around. But the objective is you need to get on this moving platform where once you get on the platform, you start dancing. And every like second or, you know, half a second that you're on it, you get a point. But then the other people are trying to swing to like kick you off.
Oh, I didn't play that at all. What?
It was so funny, Ka. It was so fucking funny.
What?
Like,
I didn't play that.
It was
that
great.
Sounds dope.
Yeah. It like again, there were some pretty, you know, some straightforward mini games and then some very inspired, simple but like super fun mini games. I think that like it's really interesting to me just like how much the Lego movie has influenced other Lego stuff in the multimedia space, because like Lego Party very much gives Lego movie vibes, and it brings the same kind of humor from when I, for me, when I watched the Lego movie for the first time, that like, again, I don't care about Legos really at all. I wasn't a Lego kid. My brain just didn't work like that. I was like, why would I build something? I could play a video game. And so, but it's really fun. And I wish that there were some things that they would tweak. I should have won my game. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how I lost.
Bricks. Goddamn golden bricks.
I was winning for most of the game. I was winning for most of the game. It was me, Alyssa, and Shannon from Inverse. So we all knew each other, which did make it more fun. And I was winning, and then Shannon gets she gets the spot where like once you land on it, you automatically get a gold brick.
Yes.
And then she also got the one where if you stop on it, you get a free gold brick. So she got 2 free gold bricks in a single round, and so at that point she was winning. And then I was at the point where I was 2 spaces away to getting to the golden brick to get my third, and I would win. I used the ability that makes your things a bunch of 8s.
Yes. So for perspective, instead of like a block like in Mario Party, it's 4 rows, or it's 2 rows of 4, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as the normal roller. But this ability makes it so that it's 1, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. I think you know where I'm going with this, Ka. I think you know where I'm going with this. I am literally staring at this roller way too intensely for like 30 seconds, way longer than I needed to, waiting for the one to flicker, so I press X and it goes somewhere else. You think naturally, logically. And so I press I press X after the 1 goes away, and it goes back to the 1. And so I don't get the last brick, and then Shannon ends up winning. It was bullshit. I should have won. It is what it is. But I feel cheated. That's the thing about Mario Party, is that like these party games, is that you being the best doesn't matter. You can still lose. And they also don't. That's one thing I do wish that they. Well, okay, I'm conflicted. Because if it was you would be hyped as hell.
Yeah, because if it was me, I would be mad. But it's one of those things where I actually they don't have any bonus gold bricks. It's like whoever's the winner at the end of the rounds is the winner. And so I'm just like, dang, like, because I would have won probably if I got the bricks, or if they had the special or bonus bricks.
So let me pause you there for a second, because for the folks at home, the way they score things is you get a combination of kind of the little small Lego niblet pieces as scores. So like each one of those is like one Lego or a piece of a Lego, but these golden bricks are like this other currency that supersedes all of the other numbers. So you could have like 3,000 little baby bricks, but if you have 4, and somebody can have more than you, but if someone has more golden bricks, then you automatically are above them in terms of the ranking. So
it's stars versus coins in Mario Party.
Yes, but yes, stars versus coins in Mario. So like that whole mechanic changes on so many different things. So like you can lose a spot, you can get bumped back, you can have someone take all your bricks, you can take them from somebody else. There's a ton of different things in there that wind up changing the game for you. What I love about Cam is Cam isn't a sore loser, but he really wants to win.
Yeah, I'm competitive, but normally when I lose, like, unless I feel like I'm being targeted, if it's like a targeting thing, then I get mad. But like, it's like one of those things like, nope, I lost, and it is what it is.
I love Cam is me and Cam are very competitive, but it's like when it feels unfair, we both are like, yo, what the freak? Anyway, I did want to address this in the chat really quick. Zhang Pao asks, would you say it's a rival for Jackbox games? I would say they are very separate. Kind of yeah, they're two different things, but this is way more akin to Mario Party or even like old school like Game of Life kind of thing. Like even the way the board is set up and all those kinds of things. It is one of my most anticipated games out of Summer Games Fest by a mile. I was very excited for what that thing was. And Azure, I see you in the chat and I agree with you. Take your time with those kinds of games for sure. So, man, that game is good.
So I don't know if you were going to bring it up anyway, but I thought because there's one game that we actually played together, I feel like we should talk about it.
We should talk about it.
That being FBC Firebreak.
Ooh, yes. Yes. Okay. Ooh, this is going to be a good part of the conversation because I am dying to hear your thoughts about this thing. So again, folks from why am I blanking on everything today? Remedy, makers of Control, have this three person co-op multiplayer game where you are going through these spaces that are haunted by all of the hiss from the Control world, but you have to like they're all kind of coalescing around these post-it notes, these like demonized post-it notes. It's a weird game. It's super weird. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah. Here's my thing with Remedy in general. They make a lot of games that I really want to love, but I struggle because I just don't think the gameplay is particularly gripping. I think the concepts, I think the vision behind like the narratives, like this, everything that Sam Lake does, I think is awesome. But I know that for you, like Control, when it came out, I was like, oh, this is one of my favorite games ever.
Yes.
And for me, I was just like, they really got something here. And there were things that I particularly really liked about Control that a lot of people didn't talk about. Like, I think that like Jesse's brother was a very interesting character, and I wish that they build upon him more. But I was just, but it just didn't feel super great to play.
Yeah.
Like I thought the puzzles were interesting. I thought like just the kind of what they like laid out for you to explore. I thought that was all interesting, but I didn't think it was particularly fun to play. I didn't think the flying felt great. I didn't think the systems with the guns and the abilities were that great. And it just felt it felt a little. I don't want to go as far to say unfinished. But just technically, it was a bit rough. And part of that is because I played that on the original Xbox One because that's my system of choice at the time. And part of that also was just like, I think they just need a little bit more time to work out a few kinks. That being said, I finished the game. I had a fun time with it. Yeah. And so like this, and then with Alan Wake 2, like, what a step up that felt. But then again, there were just some gameplay things that I just did not jive with, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to finish this game. I don't know if I'm going to get back to it, and I still have yet to do so. And so going to Firebreak, it feels like a bit of a step back in the sense of gameplay. It reminds me of like Control. It reminds me of that era of Remedy. And I know that this isn't like their main thing, right? Obviously, but like it's cool that they're making and self-publishing a multiplayer game, and I appreciate how the like systems that they introduced with like the different characters and like what their kits involve are just completely its own thing. It has its own identity in that multiplayer like Left 4 Dead-esque space. Where, for me, I had a water kit or a splash kit.
Yep.
Where I just basically, my main weapon was I carried a big ass water jug thing on my back, and I would spray down the post-it notes. I was like the support class, basically, where I would spray down, the post-it notes. If y'all were needing heals, I would plant down this humidifier. I'd shoot the humidifier to get it going, and then it was like an AoE healing thing. And I was like, it has it has a vision, it has the ideas, and I think part of it also is that, like, initially, at least for the first couple of games we played, they definitely put on an easier mode for us to kind of get our bearings, and that's fine. I think the last time we played was when it was like where I saw the most potential, because I like the challenge, I like the pushback of everything that was happening there, and it really shows like, oh, y'all really need to stick together to survive. And I really love the resources of like, hey, you have there are these showers that you can go into to heal, but also the water runs out, and so you have to be careful on like, hey, do I really need to use this shower, or can I go to my healer that has endless healing, more or less, to heal me instead. And then there's also like the, getting the ammo. And I don't know about you, I really loved the mini game where you just have to follow the bumpers to pick it up. Because I was really good at that. I was like pressing it. I was like locked in when during those parts of the game.
Me too.
And so I think that it's a game that I'm totally down to try out when it comes out. Like I would totally be down of getting a squad and like seeing how like this game really whether or not it really shines when it gets to certain aspects of its gameplay. I'm also kind of curious if there are going to be some more lore stuff that's like actually worth kind of keeping into perspective with this whole Remedy verse that Sam Lake has crafted, and how that game is going to evolve over time, because it is one of those things where I think we're just in a place where it's hard to be excited about multiplayer games, even the cooperative ones, when it's just such a competitive space. And I don't know if this is going to be the game that is going to really be able to keep up its support and expand over time, because they did mention all the updates are going to be free. Like once you buy the game, you get everything for free, outside of like cosmetics.
Sure.
But like all the meaningful updates and new additions to gameplay, those are all free. And so, we'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm totally down to run squad with you.
Yeah.
But we kind of have to wait and see how the if the fans show up, the Remedy fans, and how long it's able to kind of stay relevant before Remedy's like, this is starting to become a money sink for us.
Yeah,
'cause that's like the beauty and the danger of publishing the game yourself, is that if it's super successful, you're getting a lot of cash, buddy, and that's awesome. But if it's not, then you're going to start losing money. And I don't think this is a part of their deal with Epic, if I'm correct. Am I?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No. So this is their own thing that they're doing. So it's a passion project. Very much feels like, and so I hope everything works out for them.
I think that's where I'm worried too. Like, I don't know if this is going to get an audience that's going to stick around besides the big Remedy fans. It kind of makes me wish that this wasn't a full game and this was like a part of the DLC that they kind of had already been doing with Alan Wake, like, or Control. I wish that they kind of like. What I really liked about Alan Wake 2 is the way they rolled out DLC, and each DLC felt like a very different experience. I wish that Control would do something like that, and this was bundled into that world, because it would make more sense. Like, there's, we played through a couple different mission styles, and there was a boss at the end of it, which was cool, and it had some really fun mechanics to fight through. But I was sitting there and I was thinking, like, in games like this, like Left 4 Dead, you are finishing chapters of a movie, basically.
A story.
A story, right? Like this, I have no idea why any of this is happening, and I think they'll have to do some piecing together of like the why. But I come away from this with the question of like, who is this for, right? And that part of it is still a little befuddling to me. I don't know who it's for. Like, I feel like the thing that I was worried about was like, can Remedy make a game where you shoot really well? Like, Control had good shooting in it. Alan Wake has very different shooting in it for a very specific reason. But like, to make a first person shooter is not easy. And it was like, do they have the chops to do it? And they do. Like, the game feels good when you're aiming down sights and doing stuff and shooting things. But the wonkiness of, not wonkiness, but like the whimsicalness of the world that is supposed to be a little bit scary, but like you're fighting post-it notes for most of it. And the post-it notes can get scary because like you can turn into a post-it note and you die. Like, there are monsters that get buffed when they turn into bigger versions of post-it note monsters. It's a lot of cool stuff, but I don't know if the class-based thing feeds that competitive nature that I'm hoping for, which doesn't really seem to be there. In games that are different right now in the space that are doing this kind of 3-person co-op thing, like Night Rain has a very different end goal for it. Some of the other games in this space, like, you can kind of see what the end goal is for every round and every match. This doesn't feel like that in that way, and I feel like they have to fine-tune that part to get people to care. I do think the change that they made in terms of like the showers and stuff not being infinitely being able to use, and then the mini game stuff, which was not in the first beta that they did, shows that they are thinking about the gameplay loop in fun ways to add tension, which I think is great. But I'm still, a little bit worried for that game in the grand scheme. We got 2 more things to talk about. I'm going to quickly go through Crimson Desert because I finally got a chance to play that again.
I wish I could have played that. I tried, and they were like, they weren't letting me. It looks really good.
I really don't think people know how good this game is going to feel when you play it. I have not seen a game like this have so many varied versions of its own combat to be able to kind of showcase. And this is just a really fast, I'm going to put this on a loop, a very fast, showcase of some of the things you can do. Like, you have so many ways you can engage in combat. You have so many ways you can traverse the world. You have so many different ways you can fight various things. And everything looks pretty as hell. I went and did a RKO to a dude because he had like you do wrestling moves in this game while also doing all this crazy elemental, wild, magical stuff. Like, and it's all like, it feels almost like a fighting game in some weird ways. But Crimson Desert, I really, really don't think any of you are ready for what this game is going to do in terms of once you get into the world and start messing around with stuff. Because I was sitting there and like playing through and had this really dope boss fight where you had a very specific mechanic to defeat this boss, and it didn't feel like a Souls game, and it didn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game. It felt like something in between, but like a world that was 3 times as big and 2 times as pretty. It is nuts what this game is going to do. Go ahead.
It gives me Witcher vibes.
Yeah. Witcher, but with like good combat.
Yeah. No, so Crimson Desert I've heard really good things about this game since like probably around this time last year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. I really want to check this out. I'm really excited to see what it's all about. Because I haven't had like a really good third person RPG in a while. Like I'd probably say like Assassin's Creed Valhalla was like the last one for me. I really like that game. I know like, maybe other people didn't, but like I think that game was really good. And so I would really love for Crimson Desert to be that game. And I've heard like that the combat is like super fun. And it stands on its own. I just wish I could. I want to play just to know, like, I just want to understand. You know what I mean? You can say like a lot of good things, but then like once you play it, it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. I get what you're saying. That's what I need for me.
I am waiting for like, in the same way you had the kind of like issues with Patapon of like control, like learning the controls and understanding the things like that. Like, I had a lot of that with Crimson Desert only because there are so many different things you can do in a fight, and so many different once you have this is going to be one of those games that when you get that muscle memory, it's going to feel really satisfying when you can do exactly what you want whenever you want with every power that you have and every maneuver you have. Once you get to that level of understanding in that game, this game is going to be so fun to be able to get into. So wanted to give Crimson Desert folks their quick plug, because that they're so good. Like, that thing is so good in so many different ways. So very excited for that.
Yeah, still no release date, but it says 2025.
Yep.
So
yeah, I'll double check.
It's interesting
stuff, because I haven't looked again to see if they dropped anything. But man, that's it was almost game of the show for me until we rolled up in Annapurna's booth and Beethoven and Dinosaur dropped the banger of all bangers for the show. My God, mixtape is like so good. Go ahead, Cam. Let me hear your thoughts about what this is for you.
I just think, I want to go back to saying like last year, when we were talking about like, oh, what were some of the favorite things that we saw from the Xbox showcase?
Yeah,
mixtape was on my top 3.
Yep,
it was like it stood out immediately, and I'm a '90s kid, so and so I think that this game resonates to both of us for different reasons, because of the different points of our lives we were in. But I think that it just nails that kind of sense of joy and wonder and like imagination that we got from the 90s era.
Yeah.
And I think that the vision behind this game is just so crystal clear. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how they want to execute their things, and it's just incredible. It really is. Like I like no notes. Like, just give me the full game. Just give me the full game, because this is surely going to be a game of the year contender for me, at least when it comes out. And yeah, I can't wait. It really feels like you're playing a 90s inspired indie film, but in real time. And I really like it's the thing is about it is that I know that I'm played something special, where there's like very specific moments in the the like 45 minutes I played with this game, where I was just like, oh yeah, I can't talk about that because I need people to experience that on their own for the first time. Like, yeah. I will not, I don't want to spoil that moment. And it's like, not even that it's like a very compelling or like very emotionally like intense moment. No, it's just something that like, oh, they they did that. They went there with this, and I'm so happy that they did it, because it's just, they just go that extra mile of like, they present something and then they're just like, what if we just like turn this into a mini game?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so funny, and it's so like charming in ways that on paper it shouldn't be. Like if I was just like, hey, so like in this game, what if I told you that this is a mini game? You'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's but the way that this whole game is presented in and of itself, of how unseriously serious it comes across, it works, and it adds to the charm. So I cannot wait for this game. I think it was just absolutely incredible.
I have been doing this for a very long time, and there are very few moments where I am stuck in my seat and just awash with like excitement and joy and enjoyment, and like that feeling. It's like that gif where Martin Lawrence and Will Smith kind of look at each other and they do the point, and they're like, yeah. I see you. It feels like that throughout all of this game in the time that we got a chance to play what we played, which was a really short amount of time. It wasn't a lot because the game isn't super long from what I'm hearing.
No.
But I think it's like if you were to take every like 80s, mid 80s, early 90s teenage angsty movie, like the Breakfast Club or any of that vibe in this, Can't Hardly Wait, that kind of stuff in those spaces.
Yeah.
It made a really like this game looks so pretty. Like the art style in this game is so well done because it's not like Spider-Verse animation, but it's like just skips enough frames to make it feel, almost Scanner Darkly, if you remember that movie that was rotoscoped, but it was like this interesting way. I have not left a demo hugging the developer and being like, yeah, you got it. Like I saw Johnny Galvatron because he was there in the space, and one of the dope things he shared was he was like, because first he saw me, he was like, yo, like he had a big like, oh shit, you're here, da da da. And he was like, I gotta show you a picture of the Spawny that's in our studio. I was like, oh, that's crazy, because they won one for the Artful Escape. They won the Spawny for that, and he was like, yo, da da. And I turned to him, and I just stopped, and I was like, I just need it. Whenever it is ready, I need it, because everything I experienced in that playthrough was everything I could have imagined, everything I wanted in one package. Yeah. I am so like. There are a few things where I'm like, expand this into multiple things. I want you to make, like, I already can foresee, or already in my mind, I'm like, oh, what if you told this story in this way? And what if you told this story in this way? What if you made this like a urban story in the hood, where you took these kinds of, this art style and made something dope in that space? Like, in the music, of course, everyone, the game is mixtape, and it's all, there's a ton of like really, really well curated music in this game, but each one of them fits perfectly in the space that they got it. And I'm like, when you get a chance to play the whole thing, I'm so excited to see what hijinks these kids get into, what goes wrong, how do they kind of figure out what that is, the way that the characters talk to you and break that fourth wall is really, really cool and great, because that also feels like a 90s, not 90s comedy action thing, not an action thing, but like a one of those kinds of movies and stories. Man, it was my last appointment of the show. And I left and I was talking to folks in the room, and I was like, this was by far the best way to leave Summer Games Fest. Like, this is a perfect ending to this week. I'm pretty sure I saw you beforehand. Yes.
And you're like, what's the best thing you've seen? And I was just like, mixtape with a bullet.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay, interesting. And so I'm very glad that you were on the exact same page where you're just like, oh yeah, Cam cooked.
Oh, man.
But and like to give like a little bit more perspective on what the game is about. So basically, like, this girl, she's moving away for college, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And she wants to have like this like one last perfect night. She's going to like this party, and she's like curated this mixtape to like be the songs that she's going to listen to along the way, and each song is like dedicated to a certain part of the game. So like, you know, the beginning is like you're skateboarding down the road like you see in the trailer, and then there's one where you're just like hanging out in her room with her friends, and there's this really great part that where you get like a flashback to like her first kiss. And it literally and for every scene, like every like scene of the game, it'll like there'll be like this big thing being like, chapter this is the song, like that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And literally it'll like says like, oh, this is the name of the song, and then in parentheses is like, not on the mixtape, because it's like a song from a mixtape that like her first kiss made her. And so it's just like, just to be clear, not on the mixtape. It just makes everything so much funnier and charming. And as you said before, the animation is so good. It's honestly really impressive how quickly they've made a game this like good looking.
Mm-hmm.
Considering they've released they released The Artful Escape like 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they're absolutely killing it. And man, man, sorry, they just showed a part where you're riding on a cart down the road.
Yeah,
that was a part of the demo, and like that was super fun. It just has so much personality, and it's just so incredible.
I think like you kind of remember when developers or studios jump that next level for you personally, and you get added into like a box that's like, whatever you make, I am ready for. Like, even though this hasn't come out yet, I'm already like, whatever Beethoven and Dinosaur make, sign me up for. And this confirmed that in a huge way for me. Like, again, I'm looking at on another part of the screen in the software I'm using to stream the show, a still image of one of the scenes, and you can clip out any one's frame of a scene, and it looks like something you would want to frame on your wall. It's that pretty. I don't want to give any more details about stuff. It is the best game I saw at Summer Games Fest. It blew everything out of the water. It was the perfect way to leave the show, and I was speechless after it. I just sat there stuck, was like, yo, this is a banger and a half, and no one is beating this for what I got a chance to.
I do want to say one last thing, just funny story, that I'm really glad I was able to play this, because I booked this thing immediately. Right when I saw that mixtape was like, I was like, say less.
Yeah.
But then like the day before Playdays, I think it was, I got an email being like, hey, we might not be able to you might not be able to play because a bunch of Xbox business people are during your time slot. And I'm like, no, like, this is like the thing I'm looking forward to the most. Don't do this to me, because it was my most anticipated thing to go see as even before I found out how good it was.
Yeah.
So like I didn't get to like talk to the devs or anything. I went upstairs to like a private room and got to play it up there. But still, like, yeah, that absolutely incredible demo. It was like the one demo just because I had the time. I mean, not even just because I had the time to, like, even if I didn't have the time to, where I was just like, I kind of want to play the demo again. Just to play it again.
Yeah.
Because it's just so good.
Yeah. Trust me, if you would have hit me up and was like, yo, Kai, I can't get into this mixtape joint, I would have been like, yo, come crash my appointment. Like, I don't care. Because, like, it's so good. But you're right. Like, I had the option because I finished it earlier. I finished it faster. And they were like, do you want to play it again? I was like, no. I was like, I don't. I want to go. I want to leave, and I want the whole thing. I want the whole package when I get a chance to sit back. When I see this game again, and when I play this game again with another controller in front of my TV, I don't want anything else but that. Because I'm going to play the whole thing from start to finish, and I'm going to take a whole bunch of videos and take a bunch of screenshots and do all that. And that game is up here. Like, I don't care what anybody says about nothing for whatever else is dropping this year. That game is game of the year contender for me already. And it's just, and that was, I played a demo for like 15 minutes, like 10 minutes. Anyway,
I really hope it comes out this year. I really hope it comes out this year.
We'll see. Two last things that I wanted to talk about real quick before we get up out of here for this episode. And again, shout out to everybody who's been in the chat. Shout out to Wagerman again, because for the $10 super chat in the space. Shout out to Azure. Shout out to Zhang. Shout out to Zhang. Shout out to Linkaby. Shout out to a whole bunch of folks who are watching show. Jester. All the folks who are watching us live on YouTube and Twitch right now. I got to give a special shout out to Wager because they put on a really fantastic. This was like one of the best parts of SGF as well. They put on this really dope fan fest-esque kind of watch party for the Xbox showcase, and I missed those moments. It was me, Danny Pena, Rihanna Manuel Pena, Paris Lily, Jason Ronald was there hanging out, and Aaron Greenberg was there to hang out, and that moment was really great. Like he and a bunch of other dope folks, Ben Kenobi, who makes those really dope Xbox coins, they all got together, spent their own money, found a space, did a whole watch party, which was one of the like most professional events I've seen from folks who are not industry vets or who are like not in the industry. Like, put on a really good, smart, well produced event. And it was so dope to see people having fun in talking about games. I think we are inundated so much with so much grossness on the internet, and everybody's mad about everything and everybody's complaining about everything. It was dope to be in a room full of fans who were really excited about stuff. And there's some things in that showcase, Clockwork Revolution and a whole bunch of other stuff that really blew me away. But seeing all that in real time with fans and being in the space and hanging out with them, that was really good. I needed that for my soul in a real way. Like, that was a really cool thing to be able to see. So shout out to him and the rest of his crew for doing that and putting that on in those ways. And lastly, I had my first sit-down game of Magic, and it was really cool. I think.
Really?
I think they got me. I wasn't expecting to get me. And I think they got me. I was like, oh shit. Oh no. I was like, now I understand why Cam gets so hyped when he plays. Oh my God, this is cool.
Magic is so fun. I was just saying Magic's so fun.
I have a weird problem with card games only because it takes another level of concentration for me that I don't have as much for. It's the reason why I love video games as opposed to board games. Like, when people have board game nights, I kind of opt out because I don't have that as the thing for me. But having someone hold our hands through a full match of Magic and seeing and kind of learning some of the initial things for it, it did make me want to play Arena. Because I was like, oh, it's a digital version of the game that I can get into, and I don't have to worry about dedicating space to it and all that kind of stuff and all that. But there is a really dope, tangible thing of having your cards on the table and reading them and that stuff that I didn't really get before. And I think they got me. I I think they might have got me. I got a bunch of cards from the event. I got a lot of the Final Fantasy cards and stuff. And now I'm like, am I gonna have the brain space to actually like do it and play it? I'll probably play Arena, but I used to be the person who would be like, nah, that's some wild nerdy shit. I'm not gonna do it. I used to be a hater. I used to be a hater. I am no longer a hater. I am actually bought in. It's really fun. It's super cool. It's super cool. So I'm ready to have some actual games get my ass kicked, of course, because I don't know what I'm doing. But that was a great time. Shout out to the folks from Wizard of the Coast for having everybody in and doing that stuff. And shout out to our friends Tara Bruno PR for having us come over to check it out. I was really impressed and really excited to go play more of that. So I'd love to do more stuff with them and find out good ways to connect with them. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, I'm a huge Magic player. I wouldn't say huge, but
Sure.
I play Magic regularly. And this set I'm a big JRPG guy, so Final Fantasy, like very excited for this set. And I'm kind of the opposite when it comes to card games with you, like compared to you. Like I really struggle playing digital card games.
Yeah.
But physical card games, it's different. It's like, drawing the cards, having them in my hand, it's like, oh, I feel so good. And like, I think that if you do decide to look more into Magic, because it is a game that is like, it's easy to learn, hard to master.
Yes.
Like I think Commander is the best format for Magic. And when it comes to Commander, they make pre-made Commander decks with each set now. They've done them for a while, but the precons they're called precons. They're actually like really solid, well-made decks from Go, so that like you could start, you could grab one and be like, all right, I'm just gonna have this, and then like the more you start to understand the game, you can be like, okay, like I want to put in some money to upgrade some things, and then like you build from there. Like that's like I think the easiest way to get into Magic the Gathering if you are new to if you're new to it. But yeah, I've actually been pretty good. I've actually been pretty good on the amount of money I've spent on Magic. I have a bundle coming tomorrow. And then I have, and that's really it. Like everything else I got for free. We got the starter kit when we went to the appointment, and then Wizards sent me a package with some packs and one of the precons and things like that. So now it's just trying to build a deck, which I've already had that planned out for a while now. So Magic is really great, and if you ever want to learn more, Ka, I'm here.
I mean, I know you are the person that I'm going to bug when I start that process, because I know how much you love it and how good you are at playing it and have an understanding. And we have a good circle of people who are also into it too.
Yeah.
So it's like I won't be alone. Yeah, I won't be alone in that. But it was really fun. I had a blast playing it, and I'm always excited about getting appointments like that because I always want to learn. But I always am like, oh man, it's going to be too hard and I don't know what to do and I'm going to look stupid and all this kind of stuff. And it was great. It was awesome. The gentleman who was there, I forgot his name, but he held our hands through it. And Wizards folks, whoever that person was who was attending that event, give them a raise. They were awesome. They were so much fun to walk us through it and all that kind of stuff in those ways. We're going to get up out of here for this episode of Spawn on Me. Again, thank you, Cam, for coming through and rocking. Let everybody know about the new show you have been doing, which has been burning up the charts and doing really, really well. What's the name of it? And let everybody know.
Yeah, so I have a JRPG podcast called Party Chat, a JRPG podcast, where me and my buddy Kevin Kenson, you might know Kevin Kenson as he's a YouTuber with like almost 850,000 YouTube subscribers.
Yeah.
He does a lot of Nintendo Switch content. It's me and him. We have a weekly show. Normally drops every Thursday. where we talk about the news, we talk about what we've been playing, and we have like a topic of the show that revolves around JRPGs and other Eastern titles. We talk about like other games that are just developed by Eastern developers as well. We have a Patreon where we have some, it's a very small Patreon, but we have an exclusive Discord. We have a reward for getting the podcast a day early. We have a monthly Q&A podcast where you can really ask us anything, and we just like shoot the shit for a couple hours. And then we also have a book club podcast called Campfire Catalog, where every quarter we play a JRPG that's voted by the patrons, and we bring a couple of guests on that are familiar and educated on the game, and we talk about it, and we talk about like kind of like the history, the development, how we feel about the game, all those type of things. And so if you are a JRPG person, or you've wanted to get into JRPGs and didn't really know how to approach that, because that can definitely be an intimidating thing, I like to think that our podcast is welcoming to beginners, to those that are new, and we're always free to help out and answer any questions you might have. So
that's rad. And again, like, you're one of the most knowledgeable people in the space, and I love Kevin's vibe as well. So it's always good to be able to have folks who I love mashing up and doing collaborative stuff in great spaces. So definitely go check out the show. We'll have links in the show notes for that, so you can go and follow it and subscribe and all of those goodies as well. We're going to get up out of here for episode 548. We have 2 episodes this week. We have a really dope episode, of course, this one, where we talked a lot about all the goodies from Summer Games Fest. And we also have another great conversation with the folks from Project Unloaded, which is an organization that is bridging the gap for young adults and teens, to talk to them about gun ownership and the reasons why you don't want to own a gun, and why gun ownership isn't necessarily great for keeping yourself alive in so many different reasons. So it was a really in-depth and really fun, interesting conversation with them to talk about how they're bridging the gap using games as a place to be able to get some of that messaging out to those folks in that demographic, while also having them be able to discuss, where we are in the current state of the world in terms of, all of those discussions in those spaces as well. So really good episode that'll probably be dropping on Wednesday or so. This will be dropping tomorrow on Monday. Then we're going to be dropping that episode on Wednesday or Thursday. Spread them out a little bit so you have some time to digest all of it. Now that everything is kind of stabilized on my end, expect weekly shows to be back on the docket for all of that stuff. So remember, if you aren't seeing the show refresh on your feeds in Apple Podcasts or in Spotify, refresh those feeds, unsubscribe and resubscribe to it. It'll pull you back into the loops that you automatically get those shows updated. It's a weird thing that Apple does. If we don't put out a show for a week or two, it freaks out the algorithm and stops you from subscribing, basically. So we try to tell people to go remember to subscribe. We're at almost 8,000 followers or so on Spotify, which is great, and YouTube has been growing a ton. So thank you everybody for rocking and hanging out with us for this week's episode of Spawn on Me. I am Kahlief Adams. That is Cam Hawkins. We are going to get up out of here and go play some games. But definitely hit us up on all the podcast platforms out there. Hit us up on X. Hit us up on YouTube. Hit us up on Blue Sky, all of those places where you get your podcasts and stuff. We're going to get out of here and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Go check out the show tomorrow. If you missed it, go tell a friend, and we are up out of here for Spawn Me. Much love to you all. See you soon. Peace.